All right. Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at some English class notes
Oh, cool.
from Thiago and Ana Paula.
Awesome.
And Thiago and Ana Paula, thanks for letting us take a look at these. And
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
it's awesome that you guys are learning English.
Yeah, it's a great journey.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a fun language to learn.
Absolutely.
And we also heard that your school, BSB Academy, has like a really cool way of teaching English where every class is kind of themed.
Oh, that's interesting.
So instead of just memorizing a bunch of vocabulary, you're kind of like put in a situation.
Yeah, so you're learning vocabulary in context, which is one of the most effective ways to
I think so.
internalize new words.
And it keeps it interesting, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If you can kind of connect the words to some kind of personal experience.
Right.
Or, something that you're interested in, or just, something other than just the word itself.
Totally.
It just becomes so much easier.
Yeah. So let's jump into your notes.
Yeah.
So the first section here is vocabulary building.
Uh-huh.
And Thiago, I see you're working on words like whale, seal, candle.
Sounds like an Arctic theme, maybe?
I was going to say like maybe animals
Mm-hmm.
or the Arctic.
Yeah.
So that's really cool because it's like I can already picture in my head
Yeah.
a whale swimming under the ice
Oh, yeah?
and like a warm cabin with a candle.
Absolutely.
So it really helps you like learn it, I think.
Yeah, and it gives you that visual representation of the word, and it helps you remember it better.
I see. You also have baby dog equals puppy.
Oh, that's cute.
That's very cute.
Yeah, so that's great for beginners, too.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of breaking down a more complex concept into a...
Right, it's like a little formula.
Yeah.
Baby dog equals puppy.
Exactly.
Have you guys tried using any of these words yet, like out in the real world?
Yeah, have you, sent a text message to a friend or used it in conversation?
Even if it's just like a small thing.
Yeah, even small steps.
Yeah.
Help you build fluency.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, the next section is pronunciation guidance.
Oh.
And Thiago.
Hmm.
And I see you've been working on most versus must and quiet versus quite.
Ah, those are tricky.
Those are tough.
They can be.
Tough, yeah.
Especially for English learners because it's, the same letters, but they're pronounced differently.
And it depends on the word. Like it just changes. Yeah.
The word, yeah, exactly.
So have you tried watching movies or listening to podcasts?
Yeah, that's a great way to improve your pronunciation.
Just to kind of hear how
get that exposure
native speakers say it.
to the sounds.
Because that's how I learned. I just listened to people.
Yeah, you pick it up naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I see in your notes you also have recording yourself.
Oh, that's a good one.
Which I think is really helpful.
It can be a little intimidating at first. Yeah.
To listen to yourself.
Yeah.
But it's so helpful.
It is. You can really tell where you need to focus.
You can pinpoint those areas where you're deviating from the native pronunciation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to grammar. Comparatives and superlatives. Grammar Unit 154.
Ooh, that sounds intense.
Right.
But it's really just about comparing things.
Yeah, and I see you have the polar bear audio transcript.
Right.
So that kind of puts it into context.
Yeah, it gives you examples.
Yeah, so it's polar bears are larger than seals.
Okay.
So that would be
a comparative.
Yeah.
Right.
And then a superlative would be like
the polar bear's the largest land predator.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see within the story how they're using it.
And it makes it more memorable, I think.
Definitely.
And you can see it in context.
Okay, so we've covered vocabulary, pronunciation, and grammar.
We're moving right along. We're making good progress.
Good.
The next section is reading and listening.
Okay.
And you guys have the polar bears and the melting Arctic ice cap transcript.
So that's a good example of scientific writing.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I see, Ana Paula, you wrote a recount of your busy day.
That's great.
So that's kind of like putting it into your everyday life.
Yeah, everyday English that you would actually use.
Exactly. And Thiago, you even wrote a description of your daily routine.
Oh, that's fantastic practice.
Yeah, so you guys are getting a lot of different different styles of English.
Different styles.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's really helpful.
Yeah, the more exposure you get
to
different types of the better.
Yeah, it's really helpful.
So the reading and listening, check. Now what about speaking and writing?
Okay, well, we've already talked about some writing practice, but what about speaking? Have you tried having conversations with each other? Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Or with, other English speakers.
Like force yourself to, even if you don't want to.
Yeah, even if it's just for a few minutes each day.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I see in your notes that you're using storytelling as a way to practice.
That's a great technique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Thiago, you have the story of Gabriel and Lucas's trip to Antarctica.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
What made you pick that story?
Yeah. What inspired you?
I'm curious.
Yeah.
Because I think storytelling is such a good way to kind of...
Yeah, it's engaging.
Bring everything together, yeah.
Yeah, and it really helps you use all of the elements of language together.
So it's not just grammar.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just vocabulary.
It's like the whole package.
It's like putting it all together.
Yeah, yeah. And it doesn't have to be a complex story. It could be something as simple as, recounting your day.
Yeah, like what you did that day.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we've done vocabulary, pronunciation, grammar.
We've done a lot.
We've done reading, listening, speaking, and even storytelling.
Yeah.
You guys are like becoming pros.
We're well-rounded English learners.
Now, there's one more section in your notes.
Okay.
Idiomatic expressions.
Yeah, I gotta love those.
The little quirky sayings.
The fun part.
Make English.
Yeah, they add a lot of personality to the language.
And I see that you've been focusing on expressions related to starting conversations.
Oh, that's useful.
Yeah.
Especially for language learners.
Right. Have you ever been in like a situation
where
you want to talk to someone, but you just don't know how to break the...
They don't know what to say. Right.
So these could be really helpful.
Super helpful.
In those situations.
Yeah. And I see you have a storm in a teacup.
Yeah.
And weather the storm.
Okay. So a storm in a teacup.
Yeah. Like making a big deal out of nothing. Yeah, like overreacting to a small problem.
Yes, exactly. And then weather the storm is more like...
Yeah, like getting through a tough time.
Yeah, you're going through something tough.
You're facing a challenge.
And you're going to get through it.
Coming out stronger on the other side.
So true.
Like learning English.
Like learning English, exactly.
Yes.
All right, so Thiago and Ana Paula, we're so impressed with your notes.
Yeah, you're doing a great job.
I think you guys are doing amazing.
Yeah.
But before we move on, I kind of want to know...
Okay.
What do you think is the hardest part of learning English?
That's a great question.
What have you found to be the most challenging?
Yeah. What are you struggling with?
Yeah, because I think by identifying those challenges, it can help us kind of...
Find solutions.
Yeah, find solutions, exactly.
Yeah, and strategies to overcome them.
Exactly.
So we were talking about the hardest parts of learning English.
Yeah. What have you found to be the most challenging? Because we were talking about all this cool stuff you're doing with your notes.
Right. Like you guys are using your notes in such a creative way.
Yeah.
Like, Thiago, you're writing stories about Antarctica and,
your daily routine.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I think is so cool.
It's really cool.
And Ana Paula, you're like writing about your day.
Yeah, and it's great practice.
Yeah.
You're taking those building blocks and
you're making something.
Creating something with them.
It's awesome.
It's like, those cooking shows?
Yeah.
They give you a basket of ingredients.
Yeah, and it's all random and you have to,
And they're like, make a dish.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it's like.
I love that. It's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were talking about idiomatic expressions.
Oh, yeah.
They're so interesting, right?
They are. They're so quirky.
Yeah. And
But they're fun.
They're fun.
They are.
But they're hard.
Yeah, they can be tricky, especially, because they don't always...
Translate, literally. Yeah, so you're working on a storm in a teacup.
Right, which basically means like...
Making a big deal out of nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then weather the storm.
Yeah, more like...
persevering.
Overcoming obstacles.
Yeah, and getting through it.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important one for language learning.
Absolutely.
Because you will face challenges.
Oh, yeah.
But you will get through them.
And you will learn so much.
You'll come out stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so pronunciation, we were talking about that.
Right.
And Thiago, you were saying you were having trouble with...
Yeah, some of those tricky sounds.
Most and must.
Yeah, yeah.
Which they're tough.
They're so similar.
Yeah.
But just slightly different.
Yeah, and it makes a big difference.
Right. It can change the meaning of the word.
Totally. So have you tried, recording yourself?
Yeah, that can be helpful.
Just to kind of see,
Yeah, to hear yourself.
Stop how you're saying it.
And how it sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always tell people to listen to, native speakers.
Yeah, find some
speakers you enjoy listening to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and mimic them.
Because it's so helpful.
It really is.
Yeah.
And, it can even be fun. You know, like if you find
like
a podcast
host or like
or an actor
or an actress
that you really like, mimic them.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Anna Paula, have you found any accents or speakers?
Oh yeah, is there anybody you like listening to
that you really like?
Yeah, I think it's important to find those voices.
Yeah, and like sometimes a certain accent might click better with you.
Yeah, you might find it easier to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were also talking about grammar with like comparatives,
right?
And superlative. Yeah, like polar bears are larger than seals.
Right.
That's a comparative.
The larger than and then a superlative.
Superlative is like
would be like the Arctic is the coldest place on Earth.
Yeah, exactly.
The most extreme.
So are there any like tips or tricks?
Yeah, have you found
any ways
that you guys use to kind of like
to remember those?
Yeah. Because I know they can be tricky.
It can be tricky.
Especially when you're first learning them.
But, you know, just keep practicing.
Yeah, and I think like
using your notes.
Your notes are so helpful.
Yeah.
Because they put it all together.
They give you those examples. And you can use those examples to create your own practice sentences.
Yeah, or like quiz each other.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've gone over a lot of stuff.
We have covered a lot of ground.
And you guys are rocking it.
You're doing an awesome job.
And I'm so impressed with your notes.
Yeah.
But I also want to know, is there anything in your notes that you're like really interested in?
Yeah. Is there anything you want to explore further?
Yeah, like a specific grammar rule.
Yeah, or a type of vocabulary.
Vocabulary.
Yeah, or a particular skill.
Anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were talking about if there's anything in your notes that you guys are really interested in, like something you want to learn more about, or
maybe a skill that you want to practice more.
Yeah, a specific grammar rule or anything like that.
You know, anything that sparked your interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about the polar bear and the melting Arctic ice cap transcript.
Yeah.
And it made me think, like, how is climate change going to affect English?
Oh, wow.
Like, do you think we'll need new words?
That's a really interesting question.
Yeah, like what if? Like,
I mean, language is always evolving, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So as the world changes,
yeah,
the language will probably change too.
Totally. Maybe we'll have new idioms.
Yeah, maybe or maybe existing words will take on new meaning.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, like melt. I mean, it has a literal meaning, but maybe it will become more metaphorical.
Yeah, love that.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's something to think about.
It is something to think about.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
So, Thiago and Anna Paula, we've reached the end of our deep dive into your English class notes.
Yeah, sad to see it end.
I know, I'm sad too. But you guys are doing awesome.
You're doing so well.
Keep up the amazing work.
Yeah, keep learning.
And stay curious.
Yeah, stay curious.
I think that's so important.
It is.
When you're learning a language.
That's how you discover new things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed this deep dive.
Yeah, it was fun.
And we wish you all the best in your language learning journey.
Yeah, good luck.
Until next time.